Okay, do you guys remember almost 2 years ago when the Detroit Pistons lost 28 straight games in a single season, which had never been done up to that point? And do you remember how a lot of people were saying that was one of the worst teams in NBA history and that they were just so terrible and they couldn't figure out why they were this bad? But then a certain creator made a video on this team and he said, hey, I don't think this team is actually as bad as we're making them out to be. I mean, trust me, they had a terrible record, but they were not that bad. The team was not that bad. It was just something that we couldn't understand. I mean, even Cade Cunningham himself said the exact same thing.
Yeah, we're not 2-26 bad. You know what I mean? Like, no way are we that bad.
Now, I feel like I was in the minority of people who said this about 2 years ago, but these days, Detroit Piston basketball is a little bit different. At the time recording this video, the Detroit Pistons are currently the best team in the Eastern Conference with a record of 11-2. And if they win today versus the Indiana Pacers, who are the worst team in the NBA right now, then they're going to be 12-2, which is something that I don't think a lot of people had on their bingo card, but me, I'm not surprised. Now, did I think they were going to be the 1 seed? No, but I knew they were going to have a really good season this year for a number of reasons. But the first thing I think we need to talk about is the rise of Cade Cunningham. See, I feel like the moment Cade Cunningham got drafted, people were already ready to throw the bust narrative. They were saying after his first season he was a bust. Even after his second season, they were saying he was a bust. Well, currently in his 5th season, Cade Cunningham is having one hell of a year so far, and I don't even think it's close. Now, I don't want to jump the gun, but with the stats he's having, he's 100% in MVP talks. Now, I know it's only like 15 games into the year, not even, but still, we still have to talk about how great of a season he's having so far. So at the time recording this video, he's currently averaging 27, damn near 10 assists, and 5 rebounds per game. Listen, don't get me wrong, the averaging 27 points per game is impressive. I mean, he's basically floating in the area of top 10 in points per game. I mean, currently he's scoring more points than guys like Stephen Curry, Anthony Edwards, Wemby, Kevin Durant, Pascal Siakam, some of the best scorers in the entire league. But the thing that impressed me the most that I had to stop and look at was his assist numbers. Like I said, he's almost averaging about 10 assists per game. He's at like 9.91 or some shit like that. Now, first, of course, is Nikola Jokic, who's currently averaging about 10.9 assists per game. But nevertheless, this is still very impressive because Cade Cunningham is doing better than some of the best playmakers in the entire league. Guys like LaMelo Ball, Josh Giddey, James Harden, Luka Doncic, Tyrese Maxey. I get it, assists per game is not the end-all be-all of who's a great playmaker. But also, we're not going to sit here and say that Cade Cunningham isn't a great playmaker when he's one of the best in the league right now. Now, unfortunately, he has missed the past couple of games due to a hip injury, and he is questionable for today's game versus Indiana. But to be honest, I think he could honestly skip that game because Indiana's not really a good team. So if he does miss this game, it is what it is. But when he does come back, I expect him to continue dominating like he has been for this entire season. So because Cade has been out, who have been the guys to step up? Because obviously it's not just Cade Cunningham, scoring a bunch of points and that's why they're winning. No, there's a lot of different reasons why. Now, unfortunately, the next couple players I want to talk about have also been injured for the past couple games. But the main reason I would say this team has been doing well is their bench. I think guys like Caris LeVert and Duncan Robinson, Isaiah Stewart, even Ron Holland, those guys have been able to step up this season, and it's why they've just been very efficient. Because usually when a team is missing its best 2 or 3 players, it's usually going to create problems, but Detroit has still won both of these games that were versus pretty difficult opponents, you could argue. I mean, Philadelphia, they're not a bad team, and Chicago, they were looking like one of the best teams in the entire Eastern Conference. Granted, they have been sliding down a little bit in the standings, but I still think Chicago's a good team. Now listen to me when I say I'm not saying Paul Reed having 28, 13, and 6 and 4 steals is going to be sustainable, or Duncan Robinson scoring 15 to 20 points a game is sustainable, or Caris LeVert going off, or any of these other guys going off. I'm not saying this is sustainable, but I do think guys like I mentioned, Paul Reed and Caris LeVert, Ron Holland, Duncan Robinson, those guys being able to step up on the bench is very important. I also think the coaching staff, they also deserve some credit. But there are 2 more players that I really want to focus on that really made me want to make this video. And the first one is Jalen Duren, a guy that I am so happy to see him doing well right now. But I low-key have a soft spot for Jalen Duren because he reminds me of a traditional center. I mean, he's a guy that can score a lot of points. He's currently averaging about 19 points per game. He's going to get a lot of rebounds, averaging 12 rebounds per game. And he's a guy that mostly is going to score inside and is great at defense. Overall, he's great inside. And I feel like he is the perfect center for the Detroit Pistons. And this year, he's having arguably his best year. I'm pretty sure in the last video when I talked about about Grayson Allen for a little bit, I remember I said that he's, someone that could win Most Improved Player of the Year. Jalen Duren is also a guy that I think could possibly win Most Improved Player of the Year. And I know I said this exact same sentence last video, but I know it's not the most sexy award, but the fact of the matter is it's still impressive to see how much of a jump that Jalen Duren has made. Now, real quick, if you were someone that has not watched the Pistons the entire season and you were trying to figure out why they were doing so well, what is the number one thing you would say as a team? I mean, because let's face it, the first thing you're going to say is, oh, Cade Cunningham and how well he's done. And that's 100% fair to say. But I mean, as a team, why is the team doing so well? Well, I would argue it's their defense and overall everything they're doing on the defensive side. Currently, they are top 5 in points allowed per game. They're currently 3rd in offensive field goal percentage. They're 3 in blocks. They're 2nd in steals. They're top 3 at getting rebounds. Their defense as a whole has stepped up, and Jalen Duren 100% is one of the reasons why they've been able to do this. Oh, and gentlemen, would you guys like to know a little fun fact about Jalen Duren? This man is only 21 years old, and we are getting to a point where this man is slowly getting better every single season. I mean, when the man is 25, is he going to be an all-star? When he's 30, is he going to be a superstar? Hell, he might be a superstar in 2 years. We have no idea. The trajectory of Jalen Duren is amazing. And in fact, that's actually the thing about this team. Their future is looking so bright. This is a franchise that at one point did not have a good future looking forward, but nowadays it seems like they do. And one of those guys that is a very bright spot on this team is Ausar Thompson. Do you guys remember earlier on in the video when I said that one of the reasons why Detroit was doing so well was because of their defense, and I was crediting Jalen Duren for their defense being so well? Well, one of the other guys that I had to give props to was Ausar Thompson, and that's exactly what this is. Ausar Thompson, I feel like, is one of the most underrated defenders in the entire NBA. He's incredibly athletic. For being a guard, he can get you a good amount of rebounds. He's averaging almost 7 rebounds per game. He's a guy that's really athletic. He's great on the break. He's an extremely well put together on-ball defender. I mean, he can even get you some steals. He's averaging almost 2 steals per game. Like, on the defensive side, Ausar Thompson is amazing at defense, but this is something that we already have known. When it comes to offense, he's also really good. And I think Ausar Thompson also proves something that I saw someone make a video about this. I don't remember who made it, but the video was called something like the Detroit Pistons are proving that spacing is irrelevant, or the spacing is overrated, or something like that. I'll put the video on the screen right here. But basically, I agree with that point 100%. Detroit is not a team that is necessarily going to shoot you out of the game. They're not going to take a bunch of 3-pointers, and they don't need to. I mean, look at some of their best offensive scorers. Cade Cunningham, he's a guy that's going to drive to the lane. He's going to shoot the mid-range, and that's about it. Could he technically shoot a 3-ball if he has to? Yeah, but he's not going to. He doesn't have to. Jalen Duren, we talked about this earlier. The man has never seen a 3-point shot in his life. Okay, obviously that's a joke, but still, he doesn't need to shoot threes to score buckets, and he's averaging almost 20 a game. Ausar Thompson, it's the exact same thing. Yes, he is shooting about 31% from 3, which is objectively terrible, and technically it is better from last year, but Ausar Thompson, that's not how he's going to score a majority of his points. He's going to cut, which he's actually really good at, and having Cade Cunningham, as your playmaker, that's really going to do well. But Ausar Thompson scores in other ways and not just jacking up threes. It's the reason why when it comes to offensive stats, the Detroit Pistons are not that impressive. But when you watch them, you look at them, they're like, damn, you can score a lot of 2s and still win games. Now, technically, they do have guys that can shoot 3s. Like, they have the ability to do that. Like Duncan Robinson, great 3-point shooter. Karis LeVert, not a terrible 3-point shooter. But still, it's not the main focal point of their offense. Their focal point is 2-pointers, which is really good. I don't know how to describe it except like some, OG shit. Like that 90s basketball that people say they love and miss. This is low-key what the Pistons are. And I mean, it's one of the reasons why I love this team. I mean, I'll say it again. They're a young team with so much potential. Now, I said this in the beginning of the video, but do I think they're going to be the first seed for the entire year? Nah, I strongly doubt it. But with that being said, the Pistons are going to be a top team in the entire league. I feel like the entire season. I do expect Cade to be in MVP talks for majority of the year. I do expect Jalen Duren to win Most Improved Player of the Year, or at least be in the conversation. I do expect Ausar Thompson to continue to develop. Even Ron Holland, a second-year guy, I expect him to, slowly get better. I expect the bench to continue doing what they're doing best. Mind you, a guy like Tobias Harris is someone I haven't even talked about in this video at all. This man hasn't played in 2 weeks, but when he does play, he usually does pretty well and is a great player for this team. But in conclusion, I am very excited to see how well Detroit does. And I think given the turnaround they've had over the past couple of years, it's just a good thing to see. Like, I don't like seeing bad teams stay bad teams. I want to see the bad teams become good teams, and that's exactly what this is. I mean, I've made plenty of jokes before about how Detroit is a boring place to live and no one wants to actually live there, but I don't want to make those jokes anymore Okay, that's the second straight video in a row I've had a joke and I've had to cut it out. But listen, there's a team in the Western Conference that is slowly on the rise. They've been one of the better teams this year and people are sleeping on them. And that of course is my Phoenix Suns, which if you guys want to see a video about them, click the video on the screen right here.
She did me dirty, won't ever forgive her. Like I ain't been broke in a minute. Came in the game and I'm winning. I'm the kid, Jason Kidd, and you kidding me. Yes, fuck that bitch till the day I die. 220 on the dash, I got bloody red eyes. I got the pay coming in.